I've been there spending a weekend hunting for a budget cam that promises 4K, only to end up with a shaky mess that looks more like a phone's night mode footage than a professional-grade stream. The regret hits hard when you finally hit record and the AI framing lags, the zoom turns grainy, or the power cable becomes a tripping hazard. So the question is, does the Telycam Vision+4KZ feel like the smarter buy, or is it just another shiny piece of tech that will end up gathering dust? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What I wanted to see when I first sat down with this box camera was whether it could actually hold its own in a real-world production environment. Think a small-scale live event, a church service, or a remote classroom. Those scenarios demand reliable autofocus, decent low-light performance, and the ability to keep a presenter in frame without a dedicated camera operator. The Vision+4KZ markets itself with AI auto-framing and auto-tracking, plus a 20x optical zoom that promises to pull you in without losing detail. The idea is tempting, but the devil's in the details. Starting with the optics, the 1.8-inch sensor is a respectable size for a box-type camera of this price range. In daytime, the 20-fold optical zoom actually delivers the kind of sharpness you'd expect from a mid-range camcorder. I tested it by filming a speaker standing about 5 meters away at a conference hall, and then zooming in to capture the slide details on the screen behind them. The footage stayed crisp, and the 4K 60 FPS frame rate kept motion smooth, which is handy when you later want to freeze-frame a gesture, or pull a slow-motion clip for a highlight reel. Low-light performance is where many AI-assist cameras stumble. The Vision+4KZ isn't a full-frame monster, but its sensor coupled with a decent lens lets you get usable footage in ambient lighting that would typically force a handheld cam crew to crank up ISO and introduce noise. In a dimly lit church sanctuary, just a few soft spotlights on the altar the camera kept the subject's face clean enough that the auto-tracking algorithm didn't get confused by shadows. However, push the lighting down further, like a late-night talk show with only practical lights, and you'll notice a soft grain appearing in the shadows. It's not a deal-breaker for most small productions, but if you need pristine detail in near-dark rooms, you'll probably want a larger sensor or added lighting. Autofocus confidence is a big selling point because the AI auto-framing claims to keep the person in the center of the shot. In practice, the system works well when the subject moves predictably, walking from one side of the stage to the other, or gesturing within a limited zone. The camera locks onto the motion and the framing adjusts smoothly, which saved me from hiring a separate operator for a community theater live stream. When the presenter suddenly turned away or moved out of the predefined tracking box, the AI lagged a fraction of a second before recentering, causing a brief off-center frame. Most viewers won't notice a half-second hiccup, but if you're streaming a high-stakes corporate product launch, that delay could feel unprofessional. Stabilization isn't a primary feature of the Vision+4KZ, it relies on the inherent steadiness of the box form factor. I mounted the unit on a tripod with a PoE Plus cable feeding power and video. The single cable setup is genuinely convenient, no separate power brick, no messy adapters. This makes installation in a fixed location, like a school hallway or a retail window display, a breeze. The PoE Plus also means you can run the camera from a network switch without worrying about power fluctuations, which is a nice safety net for long-hour streams. On the connectivity side, the camera is a little over-engineered for a hobbyist but a solid match for a small production team. The dual-output streaming lets you send a full-resolution 4K feed to a capture device while simultaneously sending a cropped 1080p stream to a platform that can't handle 4K bandwidth. In my test, I used the NDI-HX3 output to pull a clean 4K signal into OBS, then routed the 1080p feed straight to YouTube Live. The separation kept the internet demand modest while preserving a master recording for later editing. If you only need a single stream, this might feel like unnecessary complexity, but for anyone juggling multiple destinations, it's a time saver. The Onboard LCD control panel is another practical detail. It's a side-mounted color screen that lets you tweak exposure, focus, and tracking settings without digging through menus on a laptop. The tactile buttons have a decent travel, so you can adjust settings even when you're wearing gloves in a colder venue. The menu system is straightforward, no endless submenus, but it isn't the most intuitive layout for a first-time user. I spent a few minutes getting the auto-tracking sensitivity right, which could be a minor learning curve for someone who isn't comfortable navigating camera menus. Once you've set it up, though, the camera runs largely on its own. Battery confidence isn't really a concern here because the Vision+4KZ is designed for continuous power.